And we're back with another episode of Before You Buy, that show where we give you some straight up gameplay and of course our first impressions of the latest games releasing. As usual, it's me, Jake, and today we're talking about Age of Empires 4. Hello my PC friends. As you might probably know, the last mainline Age of Empire game was way back in 2005. So since then, we've seen remastered and re-releases of the original games, of which they've done a really good job with. I've talked about them a little here and there in the past. Age of Empires 2 is like the pinnacle, the king. It's fantastic, and it's still good and flourishing with the remastered version. Now, Age of Empires 4 here actually keeps it pretty simple and close to the AoE 2 formula, with the hopes of it kind of becoming the new platform for Age of Empires gameplay for years to come. And it seems like they're doing a pretty good job of that. Even if it might not like blow the formula out of the water, it might do a really good job of hooking a new generation of players. And just so you know, we've been playing a review copy of this game for a few days now, and this gameplay you see here was captured on PC via the Steam versions. Now, if you're new to this series, just know that Age of Empires is a cool economy management and war conquest real-time strategy game that has a little bit of something for everyone. I know that's like an overused phrase, I'm sorry, but there's some civilization, community building, min-maxing and perfecting your economy to build up wonders and progress through the ages. There's a bunch of education and real history in these games worth learning. And if you're a battle tactician nerd, there's a lot of that. You can build and plan out units and change their formations and all kinds of sieges and trebuchets and all that stuff. Now, the entire loop of an Age of Empires game centers around exploring, starting from nothing, really gathering resources, slowly building, generating food, homes, and materials used to advance yourself through the ages and protect your communities, or build up and go all out and conquer while establishing outposts and gathering more resources and conquering even more along the way and just becoming an absolute monster of the map. Now, while I suck at the war strategy stuff, and I can still get through it and have fun thanks to just all the levels of gameplay being pretty much perfected. The skill required for all of it feels just right, as usual, and there are multiple difficulty options as well for a lot of the suites. Now, Age of Empires 4 in particular, right at the start, forces you into a pretty solid tutorial. It kind of paces you through all of the motions of a normal gameplay loop, narrating and explaining and guiding you through it. It not only kind of gives you a good rough grasp of things, but also gives you a taste of how fun the building and exploring and some of the chaos can really freaking be. Like, it's a tutorial, but a lot of the times it's pretty generous with the resources. So once you start to click through this tutorial that you can go hog wild and do whatever you want, it really kind of gets a new player in hook, line, and sinker. It's like, you like these war elephants? Well, come play the main game and work your way towards that, kid. Now, from that tutorial, then, it's up to you to decide how to play, what you want to play. The game gives you a lot of ways to do so. There's a campaign menu where a lot of the main civilizations have campaigns focusing on specific points in their history, like the Normans conquering England, the 100 Years' War, and the Mongols just, being Mongols doing Mongol stuff. The campaign menu offers 4 campaigns and 35 missions, some of which are pretty lengthy. The campaign stuff is awesome and absolutely as compelling as you'd expect. There's a really good offering here to get your fill of gameplay, and each campaign section offers up something a little bit different. A unique battle, a position in a weird patch of land, stuff like that. What it helps highlight is that each of the civilizations, the ones focused in the campaign really, but the 8 total that the game gives you overall, really have some unique differences between one another. Like, the developers really put the work in to make all of them feel more distinct than ever and really offer up some different ways to play and some cool new strategies. Like, the Mongols, for example, can develop a lot of cool combat tech and improve their game, but they're also adept at quickly packing up their shit and moving elsewhere for better resources because their farming is limited. So this works as a clever and fun way to play and be agile and move around a map to maximize, of course, but it also makes sense with the Mongols' history of always moving around. This, along with more attention to what units look like for each civilization, what they sound like, their actual language, and how that language develops, how buildings look and change throughout the ages, just makes for detailed civilization building experiences. My personal favorite part of the campaign, and I don't know if anyone's gonna care, but the documentary style it's presented in is awesome. The gameplay scenarios in campaigns is broken up by these documentary style breakdowns featuring narration and real world footage of the battlefields and locations. The presentation does a really good job of filling in like current day footage, like populated with normal stuff, but like giving it like Age of Empires units battling it out to give you a sense of what it was actually like and the scale of things. I thought it would be kind of hokey, boring History Channel stuff, but it was really interesting and a nice palette cleanser, and a lot of it was shot beautifully. It's surface level stuff, you know, it doesn't really go into like the nitty gritty details, but it's really fun to set the stage for a battle and you might learn a little bit. And a lot of those battles, like many of which when you jump into the game, they present themselves really nicely with some decent, if not groundbreaking visuals, some good animations for the units, and some really damn good music that makes you kind of feel like, whoa, okay, yeah, like I'm playing like a real new current gen Age of Empires game. The one issue with the gameplay is that while it all feels pretty good, it's not technically super different. Other than the big civilization distinctions, like stuff like the unit limit or population limit is only 200, which feels like a place they could have really stepped it up. Now, granted, the game might get out of control at that point, but I've seen a lot of people argue otherwise. But either way, like there could have been some interesting compromises there. Also, the pathfinding is still really messy, like it has been in many of these games. It's not like a big deal, but it's worth pointing out. Now, in terms of the game lacking massive game-changing new things, there is a tab in the menu for mod support. So I guess if the community wants it, they can add crazier stuff like they very much have in the past. But we were hoping to see more unique elements implemented directly by the studio day one. Now, of course, this gameplay also travels over to the additional modes, and a good amount of content, actually. You're able to set up your own worlds, scenarios, scenes, or just start from scratch. You can choose these little challenge modes as well that set you up in very specific situations, and these kind of act as both like a trackable challenge, of course, that you can mark off, but also training to really learn the ins and outs of the game, specifically the warfare, which, to be honest, is the trickiest thing to get the hang of. You're also able to play a lot of stuff cooperatively and engage in competitive multiplayer as well. Now, this stuff is the bread and butter for a lot of folks, but to be completely transparent, it's not my thing. So I'm not gonna like BS you here and waste your time. I'd rather be upfront. But feature and settings-wise, at least, everything seems to be there. The menus are easy, the setup and the details within are nicely fleshed out. And that also goes along with the accessibility features, man. They put the work in here, and there are tons of different options for different kinds of players and preferences. Remappable keys, narration, changing of different menu speeds, text scaling, contrast, you name it, they got it. But overall, I think, like, long story short, Age of Empires 4, it's still Age of Empires. It's educational, it's challenging, it can be really thrilling and brain engaging. I don't know if there's like a better word for that, but it's also colorful and a bit goofy in subtle ways. You know, the voices are still there, and there are like a lot of sheep in this one. But like I said earlier, I think they didn't revolutionize the formula here. What they did is just kind of beef it up a bit for the modern age. It looks and sounds great, but most importantly, it still plays great. It seems like everything is still there. Granted, I'm not like a hardcore 15-year vet of PvP or anything, but as a long-time on and off player, it's fun. Straight up, the campaign is satisfying, all that stuff. The really tricky question is, and I say this with a lot of these style of games, is, you know, whether or not the community really takes to it. They may choose to stick with the older games, or they may jump on this one and have a blast and expand it for years to come. That's the developer's intention, and I hope it sticks, but time will tell. At the end of the day, it really is a nice jumping on point for new players. It teaches you well, it doesn't scare you away, and it gets enough fun moments paced throughout its campaigns to bring some new RTS or at least AoE fans on board. You know, it's not your dad's strategy war game anymore. I mean, like, even if it still feels like it, but like, you could play it too. You're an adult now, give it a shot. It's on Steam, and it's also available if you got that Xbox Game Pass on PC. That, of course, is a before you buy. You know how this goes down by now. We give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion, and now we want to hear yours down in the comments. If you were looking forward to this, let us know what you think. Maybe you've read some other reviews. Maybe you've been anticipating this for a while. What do you expect? Are you jumping in day one? If you've never played these games, is this going to be your first one? We want to hear from you. If we helped you out with this, though, and maybe informed you a little bit, steered you one way or the other, clicking the like button's all you got to do. It really helps us out very much, and we would appreciate that. But if you're new, consider subscribing, maybe hitting that notification bell, because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Parats pour la bourrade.